Reec. Who you with?
We here live, Magic 107.5, 97.5, broadcasting from Media Campus West. Reec right here. We got a huge event coming up. Let me hit the hype bell for it. Y'all been hearing it on the radio, seeing it on social media. We got the man who told us it was coming, and now he's in the building, Chief Scott Hamilton. He's also bought Sister Nargis. What's up, Miss Lady? She didn't know she was going to be in front of the camera or on the microphone, so we needed you here, though. Because Chief, when Chief say somebody coming, we say yes. So she's here to kind of talk about this National Night Out. Of course, across the nation, people are doing National Night Outs. Different police forces and precincts are doing a National Night Out. Of course, Austell is doing it a little bit different. Last year had a great event, great community turnout. And this year they wanted to take another step up the ladder. Positive America Youth involved, of course. I'm going to be out there hosting, of course. We got it all over the radio, and people been hearing about it, calling in and reposting and everything. But we want to hear from, as they say, the horse's mouth or the department's mouth right now. What can we expect? But first and foremost, just want to say thank you for putting on a great event for the community once again and showing people that policing is about community.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Reec. Really appreciate you having us today. Man, every time I come up in this studio, man, I actually feel a little important.
Well, you are.
But, you know, as you mentioned earlier, National Night Out, it is a nationwide type thing. And, you know, and basically what it's set up for is to try to dispel that narrative that, you know, the police are bad, right? You know, we want to bring community in where you can actually see and hobnob with us, right? You know, shake hands, kiss babies. They can see us as real people behind these badges, right? So that's the real purpose of the National Night Out. And as you said, I brought Miss Nargis Fontaine here along with me today. She's my community liaison coordinator. So, you know, one of the reasons why we brought Nargis in is because she is a civilian. So she's not the popo, as they call it, right? So she can get me and the other police officer in the doors that we can normally get into. But she can also kind of bridge that gap and let everyone know from a police perspective, because she's learning herself, right, on things that we do and why we do it. But then also she can come and say, hey, Chief, look, the citizen ain't feeling this, and this is why. And then she can break it down and make us understand what we need to do better as a law enforcement community. So I'm going to kind of step aside and let her tell you a little bit about National Night Out and what we're going to be doing tomorrow night.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so again, thank you for having us.
Of course.
Pleasure. So National Night Out tomorrow is from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Thread Mill Complex. We had really great feedback last year. You know, it was our inaugural National Night Out as a city, as opposed to partnering with Cobb County. So it was a bit of a temperature check just to see if the community would show up and if they would give us feedback on what they wanted. So the biggest feedback was they wanted more things for the youth to do or that the families could do together, and they wanted more variety of food.
Gotcha.
So that's what we're providing. So we're going to have a game truck out there. We're going to have a STEM zone out there. We have another community partner, the Youth Innovation Center. So they're going to come out and have like some hands-on experiments and displays for the types of STEM programming that they offer. We're going to have kind of like a throwback game zone, chalk zone. We're going to have a photo booth. We're going to have animals that the kids can come up and pet, as well as bringing in our community resources, not just from the city of Austell, but for Cobb County. And again, bringing in resources and public information that the community might not otherwise know is out there for them. So we have something literally from the Austell PTA, Austell Elementary School PTA, all the way to the Family Advocacy Center that just opened up this year, and a little bit of everything in between. We're going to have support if you need help with recovery, but we also have one of our dance studios who's going to come out there and be one of our not only performers, but one of our providers. I think the big ticket item this year is going to be we've secured Pebblebrook's marching band, as well as South Cobb High School's marching band. So they're going to kick the show off. So please make sure you get there early because they are students. We have to make sure that they get back to their parents before 8 o'clock. But they're going to be the ones who are going to kick it off and do like a little mini battle of the bands. So it's a friendly rivalry, but again, another way that we can get the youth involved, and we try to address all ages, not just necessarily elementary school age kids.
Yeah.
And provide opportunity for the families to come and not just interact with one another, because sometimes as a family you don't really have time to spend time with one another. But again, to Chief's point, have an opportunity to build a relationship or meet a police officer in a non-criminal context, because that's a lot of the feedback that we get from our residents is y'all only show up when it's 911. Y'all only show up when it's an issue. We're trying to work against that and show, no, as a community member, we're available. We want to meet you. We want to have a conversation with you, and we want you to feel comfortable coming and speaking to us. And I'm not sworn, but us in the department standpoint.
Right. I mean, you like you said, you're a representation of the community, like the greater good of the community for the police. And it's always good to have a liaison, and an event like this will serve as a liaison as well, because now people are coming to have fun. They're coming to get some free food. They're coming to do all of these things, but then you're also getting to meet the police officers, see who you will have. If you ever have to, God forbid you won't, but if you ever had to call 911, you know who you're calling, you know why you're calling them. Unfortunately, we have to deal with a lot of stuff that's coming from family history when they say, oh, I'm going to take you to the police department when the kid is being bad. Or they say, oh, what you going to do if you ask a little kid, what you going to do when the police come? I'm going to run. Why? Because they've seen it somewhere, if they heard it somewhere. Exactly. But now they get to meet an officer giving them a hot dog, or watching them interact with the band or with some of these great resources. So this event will definitely serve their purpose. So we appreciate what y'all are doing.
Absolutely.
And I'll add to that, because we definitely find ourselves in those situations when we are at community events, and we'll have a mom pulling her son up, and it's like, see, they gonna lock you up if you don't listen to me. And we're like, oh no, ma'am, we're not. She's like, can you tell him if he keep being bad? No, ma'am, we're not gonna say that. Right. We'll have a conversation with your child if you want to do that. And we've had officers do that, to have that one-on-one, respect your mom, things like of that nature. But we're not going to continue
amplify
on with that. We're not going to carry
messaging.
On that punitive messaging and just say, yeah, if you keep being bad, these are my handcuffs. Like, no, but I've had to teachers, daycare providers, parents. It's a constant re-education of saying, like, why are you already putting your kids against the concept of policing? You're already creating an opposition between the two of them, or only making a negative narrative when it comes to this person. Yeah. Instead of, oh, this is the same way you see a fire truck, you should be happy to see a police car.
Absolutely. And then you're driving a wedge between a kid, and that might be their dream for employment or for their career. Now looking at you, chief of police. We don't see that in a lot of cities. A lot of times when you look at the chief of police, it does not represent the city that is that he's chiefing. You know what I mean? That he's over. So this is a great time and a great stage for people to be able to say, oh wow, the chief of police looks like one of my uncles, looks like my dad, or you know what I mean? Right. So I think it's so many different things that are happening at once. It's a lot of good wheels being turned.
Well, and as Nargis said earlier, I've been doing this for 30 years, right? And I've been there, done it. I've seen so many different changes in law enforcement. But one thing we've increased technology. We've done all these different things. But one thing we still are lacking is that community effort, right? Because nowadays community engagement is kind of like that little buzzword, right? No one really they don't really know what that even means. Right. They have no concept of what it means.
It's nice to say on an article,
or it's nice to put on a flyer, right? And just doing an event, here and there, just giving out hot dogs, or maybe giving out donuts, or giving out, just one time, and then the kids don't see you no more. That's not what we do in Austell PD. We're trying to do, as Nargis mentioned, we're going to have people here that are folks that work for recovery centers, right? People that work along with maybe help get with your GEDs or things of that. Yeah. We're trying to help people with their quality of life.
Right.
And it's not just goes beyond, okay, yeah, sometimes we might have to take your liberty from you, right? You need to go to jail. Some people need to go to jail. Right. But that don't mean that they stop being human beings.
Correct.
So we're trying to be more careful and mindful of what happens on the other side once they're released from jail, and where we won't see them again.
Right, and the families that surrounding that person, because sometimes that affects different parts of the family structure. And if they have other resources, then it's less likely somebody else may go to jail.
Well, it's funny you said that, because, and again, I'm gonna have to give love to Nargis here. Is that one thing that we're doing at Austell PD? If we have a situation, like if we have a situation where a family member committed suicide, right? We're not stopping there, just doing a report. Later on, we're going to have officers actually go, and Nargis go to that family later on and say, hey, look, how you doing? Are you okay? We're going to do follow-ups from now on. Wellness check is what we're calling. Those are the kind of things that we're doing in Austell PD.
That's very progressive, and we like that type of progression when it comes to the community, because obviously I'm not the police either, but hearing that type of messaging and community involvement and engagement and consistency, it makes us feel good about the communities we stay in.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So now we appreciate all of that. You also got something else coming up too. Let's talk about that. I know I wanted to keep it very specific on National Night Out, because we want everybody to know this amazing event that's coming up tomorrow evening. But we also, is like you said, it's just not stopping here. So what are some of these other things you have coming up as well?
Well, man, thank you for asking, Reece. So what we're also starting here is a Citizen Police Academy.
Okay.
Again, this is just another avenue of how we want to bridge the gap, right? So we got a Citizen Police Academy. It's going to be starting on 9/11. So everyone remembers that momentous event that happened many years ago. That, where a lot of law enforcement lost their lives. Right. So we're going to start on that day. It's going to last for 12 weeks. It's going to be every Wednesday for 12 weeks, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at start. It's going to start at Austell Police Department, but in each week you'll be going to different locations. You'll start seeing it on social media tomorrow. Okay. There'll be a QR code, I want to say, a link that you can go on and register to become one of our first 10. Okay. This is our very first one in Austell Police. So we're going to limit it to 10 individuals. And so, man, it's going to be things ranging from judgmental shooting, where they can actually go into this virtual reality type thing where you can see, hey, why do the police respond like
certain
they do?
ways?
Certain ways. So, if someone's pulling a gun out on you, what are you going to do? Right.
I've seen it. So I've got to experience that before. And it's not as easy as it may seem, because a lot of people say, oh, why did this officer think that person had something on them? Or why did this person? And there was one lady, and she was going off, talking about, like, she was just going off. Y'all shouldn't be doing this. Y'all shouldn't be doing that. And you shouldn't have a gun. And they put her in the simulator, and she misfired every single time. Yeah. She took some people out that was not supposed to be taken out. So I tell you that. So once you get that perspective and you get to be in it, sometimes it's a little different. And afterwards, she was like, oh, I really understand now. She's like, I'm going to get all the facts before I go on Facebook going off from now on. And that's kind of what happened. So those types of situations, definitely. But what you're telling me is, if I sign up, I can get a K9 unit.
You can get a K9 unit?
Yeah, I can get the K9 unit. I can be on the K9 unit.
No, we can't do all that, Reece. I can't make them kind of promises. But our K9 unit will be there.
I got you.
Right? They will be there, along with, we're going to have a narcotics unit come in. They actually get to do a field trip with the 911 center. Okay. They have what you call a real-time crime center over in Cobb PD that they set aside for us to use. I mean, it's going to be a lot of different things where they can get the full view of what we do in law enforcement. It's going to be great. And the first 10 individuals that can sign up and I guess be eligible for the requirements, man, we'd love you to apply.
That's cool. And I think that those 10 turn into 200 because they're going to tell a few people. Once they get to go through each of these experiences, they get to spread the word of this is what it's really like. Let's break down that wall, because in all honesty, we hear these stories, but we also need a representation.
Absolutely.
So we need more people talking about this could be an actual career path.
Amen. Amen. Which we are hiring.
Okay.
Let's say it again. Just throw that out there. We are hiring at Austell Police Department.
What's the requirements? Tell me that.
Well, you have to be at least 21 years old, obviously. You have a high school diploma or GED. And, you can't have any felony convictions on your record. Okay. And, of course, I mean, we're very meticulous and very, we're going to vet you because man, this isn't just a regular job, right? This is a calling, and the people that we bring in represent not only the police department but the entire city.
Right.
So, but those are your main requirements, and of course, you got to pass a very, very rigorous background check. But we are looking for individuals that are not sworn to send to the police academy, and those that are certified. Okay. We would love to have people that are already certified and vetted. And like I said, we have if you go on our Austell police Facebook page and our Instagram, and you'll see the different benefits that we provide also on Austell PD. We got some very unique things, right? We pay for your FOP and your legal, and some of those in the police world, they understand that's significant. And we just started paying for your POAB, which is another big a retirement fund once from a law enforcement perspective. So yes, please go on our website and apply.
I love that, man. I like when the police start using all them letters and alphabet stuff, the FOP, the CIA, and all that stuff. And I said, he know what he talking about. No, but that's cool. I just wanted you to make sure that was said, because people are listening. They want to hear about these things, and they may say, hey, Johnny needs a career, but he's about community, or he's really good with kids, but he's also looking for a new path, and that makes sense. Like you said, you want to have people that are under the same mind frame, community policing, but also know that this is a career and this is a calling.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And we do have part-time positions available too.
Okay.
So I just go ahead and throw that out there. You might not want to, you might be working another job or whatever, but if you're sworn, you have to be sworn to be able to have those positions. But we do have those positions available also.
Okay. Part-time and full-time positions.
Yes.
Nargis, how did you get into this? Because you're not the police at all. You're a woman of the community. We know that.
Such a story.
But you are acting almost as like the person right in the middle of the line. They're going to meet you first. And then when it comes to these type of situations, obviously you're not going out on a 911 call. No. But the community, they meet you first, and then you're able to relay both messages. Not how did you get into it, but how important is that for you to be able to be in that position?
So it's more important than I thought it was going to be when I initially started.
Okay.
Right. And that's just being 100% transparent. I knew that my professional history was always around something with outreach. I've always worked in the community, but it's never been in the context of law enforcement. And anytime I have moved on into another job, I try to identify something that I'm going to learn from that job on top of what I'm bringing. So when I saw this position open up, I was like, I've worked adjacent with police. But I've never been housed.
That sounds tricky. I got you right.
I've never been housed inside of a police department, And,
luckily.
And now that
right.
And now that I'm older, and I've been very transparent with Chief just as far as all of our feelings, I've had the same experience of, maturing in my opinion of what police represent.
Yes.
And I just view this as a really great opportunity to tap into what I feel is like my advocacy, like passion for like advocating for community and trying to identify and make connections for community and bring resources to community, but also be a learning opportunity for me and a humbling opportunity for me to really understand and not just have an attitude, right? Not just make that blatant generalization like,
Right.
My mama raised me that way, my dad raised me that way, so that's what I'm gonna do. But respecting the context and what they were raised in. But as I've told Chief, I can't beef with police and beef with the laws that they represent and live in the community.
It's a contradiction because everybody hates the police till you got to call them.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So I can't put both efforts. I can't put my energy into beefing with both entities and still be of the community because
they're part of it.
They're part of it.
Right.
They police the community. And that was a maturing opportunity for me. So where I'm grateful for the opportunity, like I said, because it is kind of a unique, I got to figure out what the appropriate performance of this role is, where I am honoring and respecting both sides.
Right.
And that means I have to get to know the police.
Right.
On top of, I have to build relationships and have friendships and get their trust on top of getting the trust of a community that I don't necessarily live in as well. So I'm excited about it. I like it because I like a challenge, and it gives me an opportunity to meet folks from different walks
Yeah.
and not just do that, try to identify how I can provide support to them and individualize that support and what they need that support to look like.
Gotcha. And I know the community, even if you don't live in a particular community, a lot of communities mirror each other.
Mm-hmm.
I know the hood, I know the suburbs, I know this, and I know the sentiment of those people. Mm-hmm. So you can get there. And I know it's got to be refreshing to have someone that really represents the people as well as his job well. So yeah.
I tell him he makes my job easy. He doesn't. I mean, in certain spaces, right? In full transparency, it's when I do go into rooms or when he does make connections, and I say who I'm representing in that space. It's like,
oh yeah, I said his name before. They go, oh, I know him, right?
Okay. There's always a positive experience or a positive story behind that, which helps me put both feet in the door as opposed to me just trying to put my one foot in. So it definitely helps give me a leg up because of the groundwork that he did as a patrolman all the way up to deputy chief prior to. So it's really just a matter of using that as a springboard into what his current role is specific to the city of Austell. Right.
So he built some great legacy and it's still going. So we appreciate what you're doing.
Give her a raise for that one. Can I just add one thing though?
Please,
don't mind? I just want to make sure everybody understands too, especially if you're thinking about joining Austell Police Department. We do take care of the community, but we also take care of our own. So we've started our own peer support group within the police department. We started a chaplain program, which we've used both here the last few weeks, where we had some officers that had some real challenges going on in their personal lives. So that's one of the things that we preach about Austell PD, and you actually might see it on the back of our recruiting truck, is that, you're not a number with us, right? We want to know you by name and not a number. And so we have those things in place. We also started a nonprofit, Austell Police Foundation, which, by the way, our website just went up recently. Okay. So hit the donate button. If anyone's listening to that, because again, those funds that come in too are going to be helping not only just the community do things, but our officers that are going through some hardships and things of that nature. So Austell PD, man, we are about community, but we're also about family, because you can't take care of the outside till you take care of your own. And that's one of the things we preach here at Austell PD. All
that's going in the pamphlet. We appreciate you, Chief Hamilton. And Nargis, thank you guys for coming. Tomorrow night, National Night Out, 6 to 8 p.m., Thread Mill Complex. All the information is on their website. It's also on ours, majicatl.com, and on payusa.org. I appreciate y'all for coming by for a few.
Hey, we just thank y'all, and we just appreciate all the love and the support that you guys give us, man. Really do.
For sure. We see y'all tomorrow. This is another episode of Magic 107.5, 97.5 Reec Radio.
See who's with Reece.
Hey, yeah. Who you with?
Wendy Williams is in here.